Guys, welcome back to Wild Tracks. So I have been using Bivvy bags for over 30 years now, and I'm quite a passionate user of them. However, Bivvy bags are not for everyone, and in this video I just want to discuss the Bivvy bags in generally, pros and cons, and show you the ones that I have and have been using over the last 30 years. So the reasons for using a Bivvy bag are quite obvious. You know, Bivvy bags have a very small pack size, relatively quite light, low profile in the field, and you can pitch it pretty much everywhere. You can put it on sand, snow, rock, and you only need a very small area to roll it out. And that's basically what it is. You roll it out and you use it. But there are quite a few drawbacks, or at least compromises, when you compare it to a tent. And I will touch on that in a moment. So I was first introduced to the Bivvy bags in my military time in the Dutch army. That was just over 30 years ago, and we had two sleeping systems. One is a tent. Basically each soldier carry half of a tent and one pole. At the end of the day you connect the two together and that forms one tent, but obviously that's heavy duty canvas and they very heavy and bulky. Then we had a Bivvy bag, and the one I used back then is the one I'm actually going to show you today. So the first Bivvy bag I'm going to show you is this Dutch military Bivvy. So this is a very classic model, if you like. So there's nothing special about this bag. It's made out of heavy duty Gore-Tex material. It's very durable though. It's quite a compact one. It fits a person but not much of equipment. Now I did modify this one after the military. Stock, you have to use the military sleeping bag as well, and you use buttons to connect the two. But I got it modified and this zipper was added for me, which make entry to the Bivvy bag really easy. It has a nice wide storm flap. What sets this Bivvy bag apart is the hood. You can see there's a small opening for your face. Opposed to modern Bivvy bags that often have a hood that zips open, and if it doesn't have a hoop, I found it extremely annoying because the fabric sits on your face. I had one of those bags as well, but obviously I got rid of it after maybe 1 or 2 nights of use. And that's what I like about this Bivvy bag, is the top entry. But as you can see, it's not really a very spacious one. So I'm obviously a very small and relatively lean. If you're a big guy, it becomes a little bit more effort. Here we are. And again, if it rains or snows, you move this a little bit to the side. That keeps it well protected. So I've used this bag extensively, but predominantly in Europe. There's one very important reason why I haven't used it much in Australia. There is no mesh in this opening or in the entry. So to use it in Australia, I'm actually using a mosquito net that covers the whole bag. That seems to work, but obviously you have to carry a mosquito net with you as well. So the second Bivvy that I have is the Alpine from Outdoor Research or OR. This is a really awesome one. It weighs about 900 grams, heavy duty, triple layer Gore-Tex, very durable. This one has a slightly different design, so let's have a look at it. This one has a single pole hood, fiberglass, very simple. Again, you roll it out, enter the pole. They have some, this is really quality, I have to say, very durable As I mentioned, it's triple layer Gore-Tex. It feels heavy duty. Breathability, a little bit concerned. I have used it again quite extensively, but condensation definitely builds up depending on the temperature and the weather conditions. The pull goes through this sleeve. Let me show that. You got these great pockets here to hold it in place. Obviously do the same on the other side. Oh no, it slips in there. Alright, that's actually all. So it's a matter of laying it out. This one do need a stake of 2 to keep it in place. Well, similar to my Dutch military one, it's a fairly compact one. Obviously the manufacturer wants to provide a light product, so they're keeping it fairly small, but this one has a little bit more inner space. It fits me with the general equipment, the content of your backpack. And as you can see, the profile is a bit different. It has a single hoop design, and that works really nice. Now the bar top material is really thick. It's maybe double layer material on the top. Well, let's zip it open. Now what I like as well, it has this fairly high rim on the bar top, and you can see this flap here falls over the zipper, so there's water will definitely run off. There's an attachment here, so you could use a guy line or elevate a little bit on a branch of a tree, or even maybe walking pole. Now as you can see here, this one, it has this mesh. Obviously means you can sleep with it open if you like, without mosquitoes or any other insects coming in. Now the hoop is actually quite a nice space. It doesn't look much from the outside, but it's just enough to keep the fabric off your face, gives you a bit of space around the head to when you turn that you're not necessarily touching the fabric, so that works actually quite nicely. Alright, let me demonstrate how you enter this Bivvy bag. So there's obviously front entry, which is definitely a bit more awkward than the top entry as I have in the Dutch military bivvy. But it's not too bad. It actually, the entry with this hoop, actually quite nice. And from here, you obviously can close the mesh. For instance, so the space in this Bivvy bag is not too bad. As you can see here, obviously I don't have my sleeping bag in here, but there's enough space for some of the equipment. So my third Bivvy bag is this one from TAS, or Tactical Assault Systems, an Australian brand that supply the Australian Defence Forces with some equipment, and this is my go-to Bivvy bag. Obviously it has the camo or woodland kind of print, again helps with a stealth setup. This one is actually quite interesting. It combines the benefits of the previous two that I showed you. So this one has two aluminium poles that forms a hood. They go crosswise. And that's pretty much it. Let's have a closer look. So as you can see, two aluminium poles, they cross, clipping in here, very straightforward. This is an opening with a nice wide storm flap, and this has mesh here, so it's really nice, quite breathable. You can open it at night. This is what it looks like from the inside. Well, you can see this is really wide. The hooded area feels really spacious when you lay in it compared to the other two Bivvy bags. So as I mentioned, it combines the pros from the previous two Bivvy bags. But this one has a top entry, just like my Dutch military one. Now this is an extra large model, and you can tell it's way longer than the other two models, and all your equipment will fit easily in here. Now, entry, as I mentioned, very easy. You can zip it close. So in terms of durability, it's not of the quality as my old Dutch bivak. This one is, the material is not as thick. According to TAS, they actually developed this material. It had a hydrostatic head of 10,000 millimeters, which is obviously extremely high. It's definitely waterproof for the few times I've used it in the rain. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Bivvy bags not for everyone and not for all conditions or circumstance. So I have been using them for multi-day walks and for some treks that extended to over 2 weeks. The problem is when it rains when you arrive at camp or when you wake up the next day and it rains, because there's nothing you can do than just laying in the bag. You can't sit up straight, you can't change clothes, you can't prepare anything, you can't cook in a bivvy proper. So all these kind of things are extremely compromised. So as long as you use it for either maybe for an overnighter or 2 nights, and the conditions are generally alright, you should be okay with a bivvy. If it comes to making the call between bivvy and tent, single person tent, I would definitely go for a single person tent. When I started using bivvies, in those days there were not too many good alternative tents that were lightweight and compact, but now we got so many good options out there specifically for single person tents. We got the ultralight tents that weighs between 1 kilogram and 1500 grams, and it gives you more space, even more compact, and yeah, pretty much gives you a low profile as well, and all the benefits that you get from a bivvy. Yeah guys, that's basically my 2 cents if it comes to the bivvy bags. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you got something out of it. If you did, you may want to like it, and you may want to subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you later.